This is the second session of A1 level German. What you will learn here you can use quite easily in your daily life. I don't want to go through the agenda right now. You can go through it later by pausing the video. This is the timeline for this course. The dates are wrong. These dates were for the previous batch. For this batch we have new dates. The only difference is that now the courses are on every Monday and on every Tuesday and on every Friday from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. But there will be 12 sessions. This is the disclaimer. You know that these sessions are not explicitly designed to teach you or prepare you for any kind of language exam. They do help you in your preparations though, but if your goal is to just pass the exam, you have to do your preparations in a different way. You can reach out to us if you need assistance for that purpose. This was the homework for you, but if you have not done it, we'll do it together right now. So how to pronounce the German alphabets. Why do you need this knowledge? You basically need this when you're learning to speak German. Also, once you have done A1, A2 or B1 level, still you need to know how to pronounce the German alphabets on their own, because quite often you have to contact, or let's say if you have to contact any kind of customer service, let's say for your phone SIM card, for internet or for anything, there they need some identification, and they do that by asking your name, by asking your address, and there you have to pronounce your name. And if they don't understand, then you will have to give them the individual alphabets of your name or your street address. So there you will have to say, let's say if your street address is for example Berliner Platz, then you will have to tell them it's Berliner, but you will have to say that in German. So you will have to say Berliner Platz. So let's see how you can pronounce German alphabets. So you start with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And there are four more. Pronunciation is different, but when you are actually telling someone that this alphabet is there in the name of your street or address, you just tell them it's A umlaut, O umlaut, U umlaut, or Z, or you can just say double S for this beta. It's not beta, but I hope you know what I mean. Alright, we will cover quite a lot in this session, but if you forget everything, I want you to remember at least 3 aspects from this session, and these 3 aspects are how to write simple sentences, then how to write simple W kind of questions, and then how to write simple yes or no kind of questions. By W kind of questions, I mean questions like who, when, what, where, how, which. Questions will be, for example, what are you doing? And the answer will be, I'm reading. And yes or no kind of question can be, are you reading? And then the answer will be yes or no. Let's start with how to write simple sentences. If you ask me, there are different ways to define a sentence or how to write. For the sake of explaining in this session, let's say a sentence usually needs 2 things, a subject and a verb. You might say it also needs an object, but for now let's just do without the object. So we need a subject and a verb. A subject can usually be either a noun or a pronoun. Let's try to frame a sentence with a noun, and then we will do it with the pronoun. So the first 2 sentences that we want to write are Max schreibt, and then I know, for example, let's say I know Max is a guy, he is a man, then the correct pronoun for him will be er. So Max schreibt becomes er schreibt. Let's look at the grammar. So the verb schreibt, it is at the second position, and the pronoun and the noun, they will be at the first position. So please remember this. The positioning of the subject, that is the noun, or the pronoun, you don't have to think of it as always on the first position. It's either before or after the verb. So if something comes before the verb, then the pronoun or the noun or the subject will take the position after the verb. But here there is nothing before the verb, so it's fine. You might say, what will come before the verb? It can be, let's say if here I'm saying Max schreibt, that means Max is writing or Max writes. Let's say if I want to say today Max is writing, right? Then you have to also incorporate today. the word for today is heute, then the sentence will become heute schreibt Max. Some people also, they just say heute Max schreibt. It's also correct in spoken German, but grammatically it will be better if you write it as heute schreibt Max or heute schreibt er. Okay, if you want to add some context, so what is Max writing, then you can say Max schreibt das Buch, er schreibt das Buch. Das Buch means the book. Let's see how we can frame simple W kind of questions. So you start with the W word was, then the verb, and then the subject. Then again was, then the verb schreibt, and then the pronoun, that is the subject. Here the W word is was. The pronunciation is a little bit different than the English was. So we say I was there, he was there, she was there. But the German is was. Okay, so you can think of it as we all have this decorative vases in our house, or vases where we put those plastic flowers in them. So vase. So you can pronounce this vase as that vase, V-A-S-E. So was schreibt Max. The grammar is, again, the verb is at the second position. The W word was is at the first position. It will always be at the first position. Almost always. There will be some exceptions, but you can just keep the W word at the first position. Then the noun or the pronoun just goes before the question mark. How to frame simple yes or no kind of questions is actually pretty easy if you know how to frame simple sentences. All you have to do is interchange the subject and the verb positions. So the verb comes at the first position, then the subject, that is the pronoun or the noun, goes after the verb, that is schreibt Max, and then the object. So schreibt Max das Buch, schreibt er das Buch. If you just say schreibt Max, it's also correct. So you're just asking, is Max writing, right? Or does Max write? That's also correct without the object. Grammar is obvious to you, I believe. So at the first position you have the verb, at the second position you have the subject. Here they can be the noun or the pronoun, and after that you have the object just before the question mark. All right, let us see some questions that you can already ask with the W word was, that is what. So was machen Sie? Machen is very common in German language, so it usually means what to do. What machen means to do. What is someone doing, right? So was machen Sie here? Was machen Sie can mean two things. Why do I say this? So here this capital SZ can imply that it always implies that you are talking to, when the S is capital, it implies that you are talking directly, you are being polite first of all, and then it can mean two things. You are either talking to one person or you're talking to more than one person. So was machen Sie can mean what are you doing. Of course, in English also, when you say you can mean one or more than one person, but the highlight is that you're being polite. Then was lesen Sie, it means what are you reading. Was trinken Sie, it means what are you drinking. Was essen Sie, of course, what are you eating. And then was studieren Sie, what do you study or what are you studying. All right. If you see, the grammar is quite obvious. So at the first position you have the W word, at the second position you have the verb, and at the third position, just before the question mark, not the third position, just before the question mark, you have the subject. Let's look at some answers that you can give to these questions. For example, was machen Sie, what are you doing? You can say, ich lese, ich trinke, ich esse, ich studiere. For example, any of these or all of these. So I read, I drink, I eat, I study. Of course, you can give other options, other answers as well. Or then someone asks, was lesen Sie? You can say, ich lese ein Buch, meaning I read a book, I am reading a book. Was trinken Sie? Ich trinke Wasser, water. Was essen Sie? Ich esse ein Pizza, I eat a pizza or I eat pizza. You don't need to add ein. Was studieren Sie? Ich studiere Mathematik. You can say whatever you are studying. If you're studying physics or physique or whatever subject that you study. Let's look at again, was machen Sie? Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay, perfect. Here it's just what I told you, the grammar part. So here if you look at just machen and the arrow going down, so it says in der W-Frage steht das Verb auf Position 2. You don't need to remember this, but this is just telling you what I just said. So in a question, in a W kind of question, W-Frage, the verb is at the second position. And let's look at was, the arrow going up. So in der W-Frage steht das W-Wort auf Position 1. Okay, so just saying the in W question, the W word is at the position 1. It says nothing about the Z, the subject, because there is no hard and fast rule where it is. So it's usually before the question mark. The W word, what are common W words? So where meaning who, wie meaning how, wo meaning where, woher meaning from where, was meaning what, wann means when, welche means which or which ones. All right. Also, you need to remember this. When I say position 2, it does not necessarily really mean second word. So what do I mean by context should be considered? So it can be possible that the first position you have more than one word. Okay, so it can be, let's say if you want to say something like, how many books do you read, right? So you will say wie viele Bücher. I want you to imagine this or write this down. So you will say, if you want to say how many books do you read, so you will say wie viele Bücher lesen Sie. So if you see wie viele, this is the first position. So these two words are at the first position. Lesen is at the second position, even though it is the third word in the sentence. That's what I mean. Position 2 does not necessarily mean second word. Let's look at again the sentence Ich lese ein Buch. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, perfect. So here again giving you the grammar lesson one more time. So let's look at the box around lese and the arrow going down. So it says im Aussagesatz steht das Verb auf Position 2. Aussagesatz usually means a statement or a declarative sentence. So here it's just saying that the verb is at the second position in a sentence or a statement. Then let's look at Ich, the arrow going up. Im Aussagesatz steht das Subjekt vor oder nach dem Verb. It's just saying what I just told you in the beginning, that the subject is either before or after the verb. Okay, if something comes before the verb, then the subject will go after the verb. If the position is empty, then that at the first position you will have the subject. I also gave you an example. Again, just telling you, Aussagesatz usually means a statement or a declarative sentence. You don't need to remember this. It's just that just to complete the loop of the thought process that we were looking at right now.